All right, we are recording.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and start.
Okay, you are recording.
Everybody welcome to Rotary on the Run. Please rise to the pledge. Next, would you like to lead the pledge?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm telling you, it's like years at the age you, how, I can't change how I
So first of all, I want to thank Marty and Adavon for bringing the technology to make this possible. And I just want to tell quickly before I start introducing guests how this all came to be. Was that I had found an article about Paul and two other folks on Gizmodo magazine. And it wasn't about, and I printed that out and gave it to our club, and it wasn't about 2 or 3 weeks later that Linda came with her husband and was a guest at the Grand Canyon. And at the end of the meeting, she came up to me and said, "By the way, I've got a great idea for one of your projects, one of your programs." And she says, "I know this man named Paul Alexander." And I said, "Well, I'll be darned, if it's the same person." So that's how we got to meet you, and we're very honored to have you here today. First of all, I'd like to introduce some guests. We have, I'll go stand by her so you can see what I'm talking about. This is Nancy Van Pelt. She is our District 5495 governor. And this is our chairman of the polio committee, polio board. This is Bob Zarley.
How are you supposed to hear?
And right now, we can't hear Paul. Okay, so how I'd like to kind of run the meeting is I'd like people, if you want to have, if you have a question for Paul, I believe that Dave's going to introduce Paul. We're going to do a few things first, but Dave's going to introduce Paul. Paul's going to speak, and then if we have some questions, I would like you folks to let me know that you have a question. I can introduce you to Paul, and then you can ask your question. And anyway, welcome to the Grand Canyon Rotary Club. So we do the introduction to you folks, but I know that we have some other guests here, but our introducer is not here. So would you like to tell us who you folks are?
Sure, we'd be happy to. My name is Ann Shefflin. I'm the Chief Philanthropy Officer at Grand Canyon Association. And Grand Canyon Association is the private, is a nonprofit partner of the park. So we run the stores, the Field Institute, and we run the membership program. And
an incredible Facebook page.
well, thank you. And what we hope we'll have time to talk to you about today is some of the centennial plans.
And I'm Ann Dowling, and I'm a philanthropy officer also for Grand Canyon Association, and I oversee the annual giving program.
And I'm Emmons Berry. I'm in the philanthropy department as well at GCA, annual giving coordinator.
And a phenomenal band member.
So we were, yes.
Okay, then the club members, I'll start with mine, and the club members can introduce themselves. My name is Rob Gossard. I'm the club president this year.
Sue Winchester, I'm the president-elect.
Lorinda Vale.
Ron Harris, secretary.
Marty Harris,
Husband.
husband of the
Clan Cook.
And Melissa Austin.
They muted us.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Whenever you're ready to introduce Paul, we're ready.
Okay. Well, let's see. If you can see me, I don't know. I'm past District Governor Linda Elliott, president of the E-Club of North Texas. Paul is a member of our club, and David Chris is going to be asking the questions. And there's David. We've always enjoyed coming to your meeting almost every January. So we will see you again in January, and hopefully the road construction will be finished. I was going to get my niece to come out there this summer, but I told her all the hassles it might be, so she's delaying her trip till next summer. But at this time, I'd like to introduce Dr. Paul Alexander. He's an attorney, graduate of the University of Texas, Austin. And so, David, if you will ask him any questions that you think he can answer.
Okay, well, let's start at the beginning. Back when you didn't know you had polio, tell us how you found out you had polio, and then a little bit about what you had to do to adapt with that. So first, how did you first realize you had polio?
Well, it didn't take long. Polio is a very quick acting virus. And from one weekend to the next, I had lost everything. Ability to move, the ability to breathe, ability to even talk. And quite honestly, at the end of the week, I was rushed to public hospital where there was a huge crowd of people holding their dying children and trying to get into the hospital. This was during the epidemics of the 50s. And it was impossible to get help most of the time. My parents finally got me into the emergency room to examine me and initially pronounced me dead. So they pushed me aside. That didn't last. Because it's obvious. Another doctor came through later and must have recognized some breath or something in the light. Because if he took his arms and ran upstairs with me, put me in the iron lung, as you can see, and brought me back, as it were. So, I guess you would say from one weekend when on a rainy day, something like this, I came into the house, and as with most people, recognized well, my mother immediately took me and put me to bed and called the doctor. He said, don't even bother bringing to the hospital. Never get in. Can't get to provide better care than knowing my mom, she was right. So I took about a week. Every day I would lose something. So it was a progressive process. One day I'd lose my hands. Another day I'd lose the ability to walk. Another day I couldn't breathe. So it didn't take long.
When did all this happen? When did you go into the iron lung the first time? What year? 1952?
No, it's 1952.
So he's been in an iron lung for what is that, 38, 48, 56 years. So, well, let's move on a little bit. You graduated from college, the wrong college, I went to Texas A&M. But tell us a little bit about how you got educated, your homeschooling, and then going to college.
Well, he took a lot of work on the part of my incredible parents. And when I, of course, polio set me back a number of years on church school. And I complained every inch of the way. I wanted to go to school and do something. I had a career. And mom and dad succeeded in establishing the home program, one of the first in the United States, where I could go to school at home, along with the other kids in the house that couldn't go to school. Finally, I got started. There were times when the teachers convinced that I should be allowed to take 2 grades per year so I could switch out. As I did eventually. I was the first to enter the program. I was the first to graduate from it, which established it for future generations. I was a part. And then I applied to SMU to go to college. Well, the first thing they said was no. Well, I'm not personally accepted that. No is usually not a part of my language. I declared war and battled with SMU to get in college. It did. It took me 2 years to win. But I'm a stubborn Greek, and when we go to war, I do that. So, the professor who was more or less in charge of making that decision. So there are 2 things we have to have. One is you take the shot. We want you to get vaccinated against polio. Well, I was a little late, but it was not to argue. I took the vaccination, so I've got protection coming in more. And then the second requirement was that a fraternity take responsibility for care causes. So, for the first time in my life, as an adult, I entered a class. And I was scared to death. It was exciting, but I didn't know anything about what to do. But luckily, my professor, I guess he said he was tolerant. So here I go. I started school in 1969 and proceeded to take as many courses as I could get on. And then I transferred to University of Texas in Austin and spent a number of years collecting degrees. So I was in school and I took my iron lung and moved in and cleaned the dorm, which blew the school of mine. Well, that's okay. You got used to me, and I got used to it.
Okay. Well, for the record, Tony Hudson, who's another Rotarian, says in spite of what you said, he did not throw you down the stairs in the college. So, anyway. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit, let's come a little further forward. When we inducted Paul into our Rotary Club,
David,
I wanted to get somebody with some horsepower to help. And we got Gary Wang was international president. You don't just call up there and say, is Gary available? Put him on the line. We had to check out the equipment. We got ready. We started to do it. It wouldn't work. I am so happy he admitted it was on their end of the problem. Gary came out of the board meeting, talked to us for 20 minutes, and went back into the board meeting. Huh? Yeah. So that's who invented Paul. That's whoever invented me, but wasn't an international president. Then John Durham, when he was president-elect, came down to induct our governor-elect. I brought John by, and he talked to Paul for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and the collars you could just barely see around his neck. We needed those. It's hard to buy parts for an iron lung. John German made one phone call, and 2 weeks later we got a box with 3 collars in it. I think that impressed you, didn't it, Paul? It impressed me. Anybody that had 2 international presidents seeing one online, one in person is pretty good. Well, let's talk. One thing I'm going to say, I went over to a few lots where another club was donating dictionaries. They had a little break, and I asked, how many of you know what polio is? Nobody. Somebody said, oh, it's terrible. I said, no, it's wonderful. Because when I was growing up, we knew what polio was, and it was scary. The fact that the kids now don't even know what it is, we've come a long way. But, so Paul, I gather you kind of like what Rotary's doing. The first thing I got to say to people, let's see if I can get this in there. For years we've done this, we're this close, we're getting closer. All we got to do is go to that. Well, okay, Linda wants Paul to show how he types. Here's the keyboard. Okay. You got it?
This is my, they say the pen is finer than the steel. In this particular case, this is what I used to type in. Answer a program and do some everything else. I can reach with this stick. It's gone all ways. Times many a brief and many report. And so that's how I do my work.
Yeah. Well, we know you support what we're doing. I'm just one Rotarian. What can I do? Or Linda maybe wants to ask. No, she knows what I can do. I can give help.
Hopefully.
For every dollar you give, Bill Gates will double match it. That's $3. That'll buy 5 doses of vaccine. So, you want to tell them about the latest?
Well, y'all have probably heard in last week or the 2 weeks, it went out in the Rotary newsletter that 70,000 workers gave out 70 million vaccines, and this was in a 5-day period. So Rotary is making a difference. And Paul has a few words to say how we need to get it done.
Well, I have been asked to go to various Rotary functions about polio, what it's like. And it's not been a party, but generally speaking, it's been one struggle after another. Polio is a horrible disease. It's unpredictable. It is extremely destructive.
Yes.
And leaves families in total ruin, much less their children. I don't need to convince anybody about how many polio is. I've lived it. Really difficult. And I've written a book on it, and hopefully people listen to what I'm trying to say is wrong. Because I'm trying to show that polio is something that cannot be taken for granted. It is everywhere, it's all over the world. It's waiting to attack, and it will attack. Again and again, a fool say it won't, but it will, guarantee it. If it's not stopped, right now, well, there's an opportunity. If you got 7 new children in Afghanistan, Pakistan, wherever, that are new polio victims. That's the number that is within reach. If that number continues to grow, it only takes a child to infect the entire country. That country could be home. Right here, right now. If one polio carrier comes to the United States, over 5 to 10% of the population, mostly children, that are susceptible to transmission. That's scary. So I admire Rotary organizations. I admire people like Bill Gates who have taken their resources at the time to fight it when we can still win it. So I encourage everyone to continue the battle until there's nothing left.
Well, let's see if they have some questions.
Do y'all have any questions?
I think we're on mute.
Can you speak a little louder? I can't hear you.
We're muted. Oh, Linda's muted. Never mind.
Oh, I'm muted. Let me see. David muted me.
I wish I could get that to work off.
Okay, do y'all have any questions?
Okay, does anybody have a question for Paul? I have a question for Paul, and that is, how do you get parts for your iron lung?
Okay. If I don't hear any questions, we'll leave the meeting, or y'all can quit recording. But thank you for allowing us this opportunity. And donate.
So Linda,
Thank you.
Linda, can you hear?
Linda.
Linda, can you hear us?
I can hear you barely.
We have a question.
Yeah, good.
Question? Go ahead.
Our question is, how do you get parts for your iron lung? How do you maintain it?
Well, very difficult. This is like a 1942 motor. It's been replaced with disc and collar. It costs around $700. We do have some people locally that have worked on it. He does have a spare. There are people that are trying, or there was one person who was trying to buy the parts up the elbow down into something else. They said, well, why can't he go into something else of the newer thing? Well, this is what his body has associated with him and trained him. So this is what he can use. But it is very difficult. Like if we can get some parts from a Rotarian that passed away in Tennessee, and then there was somebody in California, somebody in Iowa, all Rotarians, and we've been able to get a few parts. But if y'all have any access to anything, we would appreciate contacting me. They like to put them in museums and things, but we can use it for real life.
Does anybody else have a question? Yeah, I think we have another question.
Well, I'm not sure that we were able to hear all of the audio at our end, so you may have answered this, but is there time every day when you are able to leave the iron lung?
He leaves the iron lung. The hospital, Unique Southwestern, is just a couple of miles from me. They have an iron lung there. He can breathe when he calls frog breathing. It's where he has to go in air. So every time you take a breath, you think about it. You go in and then you let it out. After a couple of hours, that can get very tiring. So he can leave. We've had emergency vehicles come. They don't want to deal with him. They've never seen this before, and they'll have to call another ambulance service. And it may take an hour or so. Kathy has been his caregiver for over 30 years. He does live by himself. So if anything happens, any electricity goes off, he's just going to have to frog breathe until we can get here.
Well, I would like to just say that from my perspective that you have an indomitable spirit and you're incredible perseverance, and you're an inspiration to all of us. Thank you.
You're here.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have a question they'd like to ask Paul?
Can he see us?
Yes. Yes.
He can see us.
So we can send them a message of love.
Can you see us?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Are you ready?
Here you go, Paul. This is for you. Wow. Lots of
Did you see
kisses.
that go? They all threw you a kiss.
Yes.
It's a big kiss. 3 big kisses.
There's his caregiver.
Yeah, he just had his haircut before we got here. Okay? So, oh, well, anyway, we appreciate this opportunity, and If you have any other questions, send them to me. We'll get them to Paul. We're over here probably on a weekly, sometimes he bugs on a daily basis. But anyway, and then Kathy, and so we're one family over here.
Thank you.